I think real estate investing is a skill because it's a skill. It could be learned. The only way you learn a new skill is practice. And if you like, you want to be a buy and hold investor, but you looking in Dallas and Nashville and Detroit, you're not getting scale. You're not learning. You're not getting the reps. You might feel busy. It might be exciting to tell everybody you're a real estate investor, but you're not making any progress. Most new investors fail because they're not focused. What mistakes are new real estate investors making when it comes to long-term rentals? We're going to have this conversation with the one and only Casey from Brick by Brick Wealth. Casey, how you doing?
I'm doing really good, Michael. Thank you so much. And I help new investors all the time with their first rental property. And so I see tons of potential mistakes coming about. So that's why I thought this would be a really good topic today. One of the first mistakes that I see new investors make, and I bet everyone is guilty of this,
Mm.
everyone, even the old investors. And the question is, and the question I get asked, the mistake is, where should I invest? What's the best market to invest in? To me, that is a huge mistake to ask that question because everybody's investing style is different. Who you are as an investor, your risk level, the amount of time that you have available. There's so many factors that go into choosing a good rental market. I mean, there are investors in every single state, in every single county, in every single city, in the whole country, in the whole world. Someone's investing everywhere. Does it mean that everywhere is a good place? Does it mean that the bigger pockets top 10 places to invest are the places you should focus on? Not necessarily. Everyone has their different criteria and risk level. So I think to me, that's the biggest mistake is just taking the lead from what someone else has already done.
Oh, I love that you started there. I think it's a red flag, right? If you're chasing the best markets, it's you might feel like you're getting somewhere, but you're not really. You're just chasing. You're not learning. And whether it's bigger pockets or fortune or whatever it is, the top 10 lists, it's not top 10 for you. It's not Casey's top 10, right? That's a very different thing. So I love that. Kind of on that ilk, um, I see a lot of new investors do the following, and they're serious. They want to get started, but man, there's just no focus, right? I think real estate investing is a skill because it's a skill. It could be learned. The only way you learn a new skill is practice. And if you like, you want to be a buy and hold investor, but you looking in Dallas and Nashville and Detroit, you're not getting scale. You're not learning. You're not getting the reps. You might feel busy. It might be exciting to tell everybody you're a real estate investor, but you're not making any progress. Most new investors fail because they're not focused, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. They're not focused and they do too much research. I know you harp on research, do the work, but there comes a point where doing the work that's all they do is do the work of the
Mm.
research, the analyzation, and they never move past that and take the next step into actually doing something real. You can research to your heart's content, and that's where it ends for a lot of people because they just get overstimulated and there's just too much
Mm.
possibility and they just give up. So another one that is people ask all the time, this is a big mistake. I want to invest in the places that have the highest cash flow. Where's the highest cash flow? I'm
Mm.
like, oh no. That makes me like, okay, we gotta have a heart to heart because
Yeah.
yeah, cash flow is great, but if all you're looking at is year one cash flow, you're gonna be losing cash flow. Likely every year it'll be going downhill because the highest cash flow property, and this, of course, anything will cash flow with 100% down, right? You can buy all cash, I'm still gonna cash flow. So I'm talking about traditional 20-25% down payment. Where are you gonna find cash flow? And if you're looking for the highest cash flow market,
Mhm.
you're likely in a high risk market. And these markets are going to be not great long-term investments. A lot of these markets that have high cash flow today are going to have the same amount of rent for the next 5 to 6 years. It's very hard to raise rents in a market that is not increasing in value very much. And you're not able to raise rents as much. So whereas your year one cash flow might look good today, maybe on paper, it's decreasing every year because the rent's staying the same, but you're getting an increase in potential property taxes every year, maybe, right? Depends on how often they get reassessed, your values get reassessed. Home insurance goes up every year. And we've seen with inflation, everyone's charging more. The yard guy charges more to cut the lawn. So you're getting the same rent stagnant for 5 to 6 years because these high cash flow markets today, they don't really cash flow in the long term. My opinion is you need to find properties that have appreciation and rent appreciation potential. Yes, we don't ever want to go negative, ever, in my opinion, in year one. Never go negative. You need to cash flow. But if I can all but guarantee I'm going to be able to raise the rents 3% every year, or I know at least every other year I can raise rents 30 to 50 bucks,
Yeah.
that to me is a good cash flowing market, not one that just cash flows high today, but not tomorrow.
Yeah, I love that one as well. One of the things that I often harp on is the 1% rule. Is one of those simplistic, sounds good, hey, I'm cool, I got a 1%er, blah blah blah, but it leads you to the wrong stuff, right? It could lead you to the worst parts of town. It could lead you to HOA condos. Like, I got a 1%. Yeah, okay, no, you didn't, right? You got a $400 condo fee that you're not including anywhere or whatever it is. So yeah, yeah, I've seen so many people go broke buying cheap, right? They bought a cheap
Yep.
property because, Excel cash flow said so, and reality never matched the spreadsheet. So that's a good one. The next thing, I'll go to the other side of the equation. I've run into some people sometimes that are in such a hurry that they're like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy a deal to buy a deal, right? It's gonna be my education. And I'm like, what are you doing? Right? You're literally gambling with tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you think that's a good idea, right? Learning real estate's not hard. It's
No.
it's like eighth grade math. It might even be sixth grade math. It's not
Because what I
difficult.
love about it, I hate math. So it's like add and subtract, maybe a multiply here and there,
Yeah,
but
here,
it's
there,
so
right?
easy.
Look,
No math
yeah,
really involved.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I really, I just don't get that, right? You're gonna buy something just to say you own it, and then you're not gonna know the numbers. You're not gonna know it's an alligator, right? It loses money every month, and it's like, I mean, that's almost worse than overanalyzing stuff. Is just throwing money at it.
Why I kind of think people do that.
Yeah.
I think people do that because they hear so much on social media about how it's just easy and it's fine and we do all these deals and it's blah 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 and it's easy and it's fine and it's fun and it's like and there's no repercussion. There's nothing bad's going to happen. No one ever talks about reality on social media. YouTube channels, Instagram, it's all excellent. Nothing is ever bad. And
Yeah.
so people go, oh, I'm just going to get one. I'm just going to get one. Just getting one and getting a bad deal and losing maybe the whole property's value because you're stupid. You think you're just
Mm-hmm.
going to recover from that? No, it will take years to recover from a huge financial loss,
Yeah.
and not only that, it's going to blow all your mojo for wanting
Yeah.
to continue investing. So I think people just say, I'm just going to get one and like let all the mistakes happen because they're not really taking it seriously. They're looking at social media as their inspiration
Mm.
and they're not really thinking about real life and what really could happen and the real ramifications and the financial repercussions of buying a property that's not worth it, buying in a bad neighborhood with bad tenants and all these fancy financing terms. And what if you can't refinance or sell the property and you have to take a huge loss? And how is that going to be personally for your family taking a loss like that? There's no reason to take a loss just to learn. That is the
Mm.
dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I agree with you. I agree. All
So
right. What do you?
one of the other ones, that I thought of, and this is a huge one, and I still get anxiety sometimes from this one, and it is just placing any tenant because
Mm.
you're worried it's not going to rent. So a
Yes.
lot of new investors, even if they use a property management company, right? You don't have to be landlording. I landlord, but you don't have to. The PM company is still gonna send you, here's the one that we found. What do you think? And if you're like, oh my God, I have students, it's been on the market for a week for rent. I haven't got a lot of interest. I have to take this person. It's like, whoa, Nelly, don't. No tenant is better than a bad tenant. And people
Absolutely.
get rushed, and I fall victim. I feel anxious, like, oh my God, I haven't had enough interest in the past week and a half. Like maybe I priced it too high, or I'm not answering the phone calls. Maybe I should. This person's okay. Maybe I should just put them in. And I gotta be like, no, Casey, no, we've been down this road
No,
before.
we've done that
Okay,
before. Yep. Yep.
been down this road before. So a lot of new investors will just hurry up and take one of the first tenants that apply because they're worried they're not going to get anybody else, or worried their property's not going to rent. And I say to them, every house rents. As long as you bought in a decent area where there's schools and employment, it will rent. If it's not renting, you're not advertising it well enough, or your price is too high. Your photos suck. I mean, photos are huge. Photos are huge. That's what sells the property to a tenant, is the way it looks before they want to go call up and get a showing. It's how it looks. There's a lot of things you can check out before you have to rush to gotta go put in the first tenant that calls.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. The other one I kind of go to is this happens a lot, right? We both talk to a lot of folks. People compare their year 1 to our year 10.
Yeah.
Right.
All the time.
That's all I'll say that's disrespectful. Right. To think that in 1 year you could accomplish or be where we are at year 10 or 15 or 20 or however many years it's been. That's just not how the games work. Right.
That's right.
You've got to do your time, right? And it'll work for you, right? Inflation's a feature, not a bug, all the things that we talk about. But yeah, if, I had somebody the other day reach out to me and go, how do I get where, get where you are in a year? I'm like, no idea. It didn't take me a year. I'm not sure it's possible. I don't think I'd want to get here in a year. That would be way too fast. So,
Yep.
it is a journey. Enjoy it. Your time will be your time. Don't compare to us.
Yep. I have people all the time, and I'll post, oh, my first property I ever bought, I used to cash flow 400. Now I cash flow over 900 a month. And I'll get messages. Well, I don't want to find a property that barely cash flows $100, $200. I want a property that cash flows 900. How'd you find that? That's impossible. That's impossible. It's impossible for you to find a house that cash flows 900. And I said, like, bro, that's the new thing. My son says bro like 100 times a day. He's 10. So
Bro,
bro's my new word. Bro's my new word. I go, bro, you're not going to find a house that cash flows like $900 a month. That's almost paid off, in 1 year, unless you want to pay all cash or put a whole bunch down. This has been like over 8 years,
yeah.
over 8 years. And I self-manage. So I'm saving on costs, and that sort
Yep.
of thing. And I bought the property at a good price, and I put a lot of money into it. So my loan is low, but it's worth this now.
Right.
And I'm cash flow good because we did a lot, and it's been 8 years. So no, you're not going to, no, I'm not a scammer, because I'm telling you that my one property, whatever cash flow is 900, you can get that too. It's just eventually you have to
Yeah,
start.
exactly.
You have to start from the beginning,
Yep.
find a property in a good neighborhood, do good renovations, make sure you're in an appreciating area. And then eventually you too will have $900 a month cash flow. And no, it's not going to happen tomorrow. You're not going to go find one tomorrow unless you want to put all your money down,
Yeah.
so I get that a lot too. If people want immediate gratification. And as I like to say, real estate is a get rich quick for sure, but it's a slow game. Like it is not, it's simple. It's simple.
Mm-hmm.
No one says easy, it's simple. But it
Mm-hmm.
is going to take some time to do. And
Yeah.
I think with all the social media push out there for you can get rich overnight with no money, no credit, all these things, it's not realistic. It's not practical at all.
No, I love that. Let's give them one more, Casey. What's your final one?
Okay. So one of my final ones, let's see, of course, I put a list. Oh, this one comes to rehab, right? So all properties need some sort of work. Even if you buy a brand new build, there's always something wrong, with the property. I used to sell brand new builds in California as an agent. And my buyers, they always had to fix something, even with a new builder. So, but with investors, right, we want a property that needs some work because we want to increase added value. Well, new investors don't want to have it, Michael. They never fix anything in their life. So here you are, new investor trying to rehab a property, gut the kitchen, add a wall, do all these things. They have no clue what goes into rehabbing a property. So what do? They overpay for everything. They don't know what they're doing. And we all know nobody likes to get quotes. No one likes to get quotes. Getting quotes sucks, right? And half the time you talk to the contractor for an hour at your house and he never ends up giving you the quote. It's a pain. But when you go with the first guy that gives you a quote, he's probably overpriced. That's just Murphy's Law. You
Mm,
have to get several quotes and you have to understand the scope of work. And the mistake is too many new investors want to tackle these big rehabs without any construction knowledge whatsoever.
mm-hmm.
And so they get way in over their heads. They end up spending way more money than they thought they were going to on the rehab, and now it turns into a bad deal. And they wonder why they get the deal in the first place. Well, because all the other investors that made offers weren't going to pay your price because they really knew how much it cost to fix up that house, and they knew that they bought it at your price and wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess my final one is I still get people that bet on appreciation, right? I hate it when I hear people, I can afford negative cash flow. That's like nails on a chalkboard to me.
Yeah,
Again, I wrote a story in my first book about a friend of mine who said proudly that he could afford 4 negative cash flow homes. Dude, that's not the game we're in. We're not in the game to lose money. Dude, stick your money in a freaking treasury bill instead, right? Because we're here. Your money needs to be working for you, not losing money. It just really annoys me that people
yeah,
sign up for on purpose. You're going
yeah.
to lose money some months. It's just how this game works. But to sign up to lose money every month drives me insane.
I hear a lot of that from new investors or experienced investors too, which gets me, that live in California or people that buy in California and buy in Texas. Those are the two places where people want to buy these negative cash flowing properties because they know that in X amount of years it's going to appreciate. Well, the thing is you have to think about where you are at in your age, right? How old are you? When do you think you're going to retire? Because I remember a long time ago when I used to work in California, it was right before that '08 crash. And I had this lady a lady named Fran at work. She was in her 50s and she was about to retire. She had all her money in a 401k. No, this isn't a real estate, but she had all the money in a 401k. And she
Nope. We lost you. You went
stock
on me. Oh, there
happened
you go.
then. Oh,
Sorry. We
were
lost
we
you
cut
for a
now?
second. Yeah. Do that again. Tell me Fran's story. Sorry.
No.
You're good. You're back.
Okay. I was like, oh no, we cut out. So yeah, so quick story. When I was working in California, right before the market crash of 2008, there's a lady named Fran. And she had all her money invested in a 401k. She didn't own any rental properties, but she owned her home. And she was excited because she was going to get to retire in like 1 or 2 years. She kept looking forward to it. She'd talk about it all the time. Then the crash happened. She lost about 40% of the value in her stocks. And she was crying at her desk saying, I'm going to have to work like 5 more years. So now she had to work till she was 60. Well, this is similar to people that invest and put money into appreciating properties. What if there's a crash when you're ready to retire and now your property not only isn't worth it, but you've lost all these thousands of dollars every month for years? It's just too big of a risk. If anything, if you really want put more money down in cash flow, but at least cash flow, because you never know what's going to happen in your life, what spouse or whoever is going to die, break a leg, get a concussion, go brain dead. You don't know. So at least make smart investments to where your investments are paying for themselves. Otherwise, it's just an extra liability.
Oh, love that. Casey, where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram, Brick by Brick Wealth, as well as YouTube, Brick by Brick Wealth.
Awesome. Casey, thank you so much.